Let's get right back to it. Gerry, talk right into the mic. Just adjust it there however you want. How are you, my friend?
Great.
Oh, this is I'm telling you right now. Are you familiar with Facebook and how it works and everything? You're on there a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You know I put that post up yesterday that you were coming on.
Yes, you did.
Okay, it's been shared 63 times, maybe more now. And it gives you any idea. Every single time your dad's name is mentioned publicly, social media, anything, it explodes, Gerry. He's been gone 32 years. Don't worry about that. We'll fix that after. As long as you can hear me right now. What an iconic man your father was to still have this type of impact all these years later. What do you think about that?
He established quite a legacy for just being Gerry Barber the way he was.
Yeah.
And he did a great job for the job he had to do and all that.
How many in your family?
There is a total of 5 kids.
Okay.
And ranging from Ronnie, Darlene, myself, and Bobby and Jimmy.
And is everybody still alive and healthy?
My oldest brother, Ronnie's passed.
He's passed, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And your dad died in 84, May 27th, you told me.
That's correct.
And what about your mother?
She's passed in 2010.
2010.
Yeah.
Where did your dad grow up?
In Lowertown, Ottawa.
Okay, born and raised.
Yes.
Okay.
On Nelson Street.
On Nelson Street. I know it. So he grew up...
And Clarence, sorry. Nelson and Clarence.
Nelson and Clarence.
Yeah.
Now, what about the fight with Lally Lalonde? True or no?
That was true.
Okay. Now there's various stories about the length of the fight. I mean, anyone who's been in a battle knows that if you go even 90 seconds, you've been in battles, you can attest that. We'll talk about that too. But the story is that fight lasted multiple minutes. I've heard ridiculous amounts of time. What is your estimation in terms of the truth there?
I would say at least a good half hour.
They just went at it.
Yeah, and they started from one point and they worked their way. Well, the rumor was that they started in, I guess, around Hoddinott Street and finished off around King Edward. That's the rumor.
They were younger at the time, right?
Yes.
They were teenagers?
I couldn't say.
You're not sure about that? Do you have any idea what started it, or no? Just two tough guys came together and let's have at it. Yeah. God, it's phenomenal. So, when did your dad start bouncing?
At the age of 15.
15.
Yes.
Do you know where?
At the LaSalle on St. Patrick's Street in Hoddinott.
Okay. Yes. How tall was he, Gerry?
At that
in his like, you know, I mean,
time 6'1", and of course he got heavier as time went on.
Yeah.
At the end he was around 285, 290.
285, 290 at the end. He was very heavy, but he was so big. He was so heavy-handed.
Yeah.
His shoulders, his neck, his head, his hands, his arms were absolutely gargantuan. They were huge.
Yes. His neck size, for example, was almost a size 20. And his ring size for a wedding ring would be a size 13.
Size 13.
And then, of course, larger.
Large hands.
It would be like an old, like the farmers that throw bales.
Yeah.
Same idea. Naturally strong.
Did he work out ever?
No.
Never worked out.
But because my grandfather had a newspaper stand for many years, they hauled newspaper bundles and stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's where he got his physical strength from and all that, hauling papers. And then as time went on, he just got stronger and stronger.
Did he have brothers and sisters?
Yes, he did. He had a total of 7 boys and 2 girls.
Are any of them still alive?
One left. My aunt.
Just one aunt left.
Yes.
God love her. Jeez, that's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about in terms of, first of all, somebody should do a book. There should be a movie, don't you think? I know people have talked about it. Do you not want that?
I do, but we have to be so careful because we don't want to ruffle any of the family's feathers, and if we say the wrong thing and stuff like that. So
because it's allegedly he beat somebody up or did something.
That too, and it just like even our own family. I'm thinking of. I don't want to. As I say, I don't want to make it because we still have to live under his umbrella, if you want to use that term.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to offend anybody. Everything's going smooth right now.
Yeah.
Because as every family they always have one that doesn't agree with the other, and there's of course fights on, and they're not talking to each other for many years and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And we're trying to avoid any of that stuff going on.
And you think maybe a book could possibly bring some of that to the fore?
Could, yes.
Yeah.
I'm not looking to make any money off of anything like this at all.
Yeah.
Just basically come out, talk about my dad, what he established for all the years that he worked at the Chaudière.
Yeah.
And of course, show the other side of him as well, away from the Chaudière.
Yeah, I have something I want to read. You probably are familiar with everything, but I'm going to read it for our listeners here. It's an incredible story about your father. When we come back, Gerry Barber Jr. in studio. Thank you so much for coming in. Hang around. We've got another half hour to go. I'm thrilled that you're here. So are our listeners. This is our largest audience ever, guaranteed. We'll be right back here on 1310 News. First of all, ladies and gentlemen, everybody who's messaging me, there's too many. I can't respond. It's just too many, Gerry. You were even saying last night your own page. I know we touched on it off the start. Are you still surprised? Are you amazed? How do you view it? I mean, it's unbelievable. How many people want to either offer up a comment, a thought, a story, either about your dad and the shot?
It just blows me away. Like I was talking with my wife this morning and all that, and it was like what is it with him? It's almost like he's established such a legacy.
Yeah.
Over all the almost 32 years coming up since his passing, and it's like the guy never dies.
When did you know, as a young boy, who he was? And when I say who, I mean who in quotations, that you had a father of renown?
It'd be probably a couple years after he passed.
You're kidding?
Yeah, because I've having the same name and all that. And next thing I introduced myself to various people.
Did you have guys want to fight you as soon as you said your name when you were like 17, 18?
Never.
No?
No. We only had one incident, and it happened to be my brother and I happened to be at the old Talisman.
Yes.
And all because of my dad and my brother kicking out. There was 6 guys out of the Chaudière the weekend before, and that was our watering hole. That was our place that we loved to go and party and all that.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, here's these 6 guys that show up at the Talisman, which was the beachcomber.
Yeah.
And they decided they wanted to take a round out of my brother. And of course, I came to my brother's aid, so sure enough, we ended up at the cop shop and filling out a report. And it was so funny because I hear one of the officers say, "Hi, Gerry, hi, Gerry." And it's like, I didn't say my name to them. Next thing you know, I look up, and here's my dad standing in the doorway. So I was like, oh, my brother and I was like, we're in trouble now. And he was an enforcer in the sense of, don't go looking for fights.
Yeah.
That was number 1 rule with my dad.
Yeah.
And first question out of his mouth, who started it? I said, they did. And then he asked, you guys okay? Yeah. Okay, we'll see you at home. And I haven't heard a boo since then. But that was the only time that I can remember having anything to do outside of the Chaudière with a fight. No.
Do you know the Blondins? You must know.
Very well. I actually played hockey with one of them.
Did you?
Yes, I have.
And their dad was Edgar, who was in the Ottawa Sports Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Well, like the tough guys from the area, Gerry, of which there are many, that in some cases went over either to try your dad or just drank there at the shot, and were renowned tough guys. Who are some of? Do you remember those names? Do you remember the names of any of the guys who had the reputations, and in some cases allegedly now have either stated or friends of theirs have stated that they beat your dad? You must get that now still, right? Not
too much. No, there's only one family that's because the only reason why I remembered it is because when Earl McRae did the article, "Who's the Toughest SOB?" in 1999.
Yeah.
And the one name that pops out, and which was kind of hilarious because his nephew plays hockey with me right now, which happens to be Patty Post's.
Okay.
And so Patty Post comes to mind right away.
Yeah.
He was one of the top runners.
Yeah.
In that article.
You worked at the Chaud, right?
Yes, for 5.5 years. Yeah.
Were you working bar? Were you working door? Were you?
I started off as a glass washer for about a month or so, and then I ended up being in the service bar, which is in the back kitchen area. Of the Rose Room. And then as I became of age, because I was only 16 at the time.
Okay.
So I wasn't allowed to be on the floor. So,
I see.
So when I became of age, which was 18, then I was able to go be a waiter, bartender, out on the floor and all that. And so.
Do you like Patty Domenico? Do you know that name? We worked there. There's so many, right? I'm just curious what names you know and don't know. So names like, for example, Frankie Consenzo. Do you know this name?
Doesn't ring a bell.
Doesn't ring a bell.
No.
So these are names of guys who allegedly had altercations with your father. So you're not sort of that deep into it where you've got all the minutia on allegedly some of the battles he had with some of the tougher guys. I mean, we've heard the stories where he fought the bikers, he fought the other bouncers, he fought the farmers, he fought the football team, These were guys. He wasn't starting these.
No.
These people came in and either started trouble or they came in looking for him.
Correct.
The Staccatos, Les Emerson.
Yes.
5-man electro band.
Known very well.
House band at the Chaud in the 60s.
Yes.
Tells stories about guys coming back, multiple men coming back to engage your father in battles. Are you familiar with those stories at all? You haven't. You act like you're shaking your head. You don't even want to know them.
Actually, I never even heard about those episodes. Like when I started at the Chaudière in '78, I didn't know any of the battles that went on. It was kind of two separate worlds.
Okay.
What happened at the Chaudière before I started working there stayed at the Chaudière, and what was at home was at home.
I want to read a note that was posted a number of years ago by a woman. Her first name was Francine. Gerry Barber, a bouncer legend who many feared. But the other side of him was a kind, generous human being. I met Gerry in a restaurant in Elmer. I was down on my luck, looking sad, sipping on coffee, reading the paper. At the time, I was a single mother of 2 children, running away from a very abusive relationship, living temporarily with my mother. Gerry, invited me to dine with him. His 2 sons were with him. I don't know if you were one of them or not.
I'm not sure.
I accepted. He asked me why I was so sad. I told him why. He said, no problem. I happen to have a 3-bedroom place to rent in Vanier on Joliet Street. If it's too expensive, I'll adjust the rent. Come Christmas, he arrived, Gerry did, at my apartment that I rented from him. He arrived with his 2 sons, with groceries for a week, Christmas gifts for my 2 girls. I was able to finish high school because of him. I later returned to school and became an addiction counselor and then a social worker. How do you thank a guy like that? It was pure generosity from his heart. Merci, Mr. Barber.
I do remember that one.
Were you one of the sons there?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
Now, there's a side of your father that people wouldn't
see it at all. And he was always generous that way. He wasn't the guy that made millions of dollars and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he was very kind-hearted that way. Same thing with the family. If the family was short of cash or whatever, and here he is, he was more than willing to help out, whether it be $100 or say $5,000.
Yeah. What was he like at home? Was he a yeller? Was he demonstrative? Did he rule with an iron fist as a father, or was he quiet and demure, or how?
Well, it was a combination of everything. Back then, in that era, he ruled the roost.
Yeah.
And if you stepped out of line, back then, you would know about it.
Yeah.
It's not like today.
Yeah.
Like pointing your finger, don't do that next time. He'd let you know.
He let you know.
And
he was old school.
He was very old school.
Yeah.
And but we still live to tell about it.
Yeah.
And also the respect.
Yeah.
Where today a lot of the kids don't have the respect for their parents the same way.
Yeah.
And but he was very generous. He was he watched out for people that were in hardship times and stuff like that. And he was great that way. And also he enjoyed having fun too. Not just the business side, and because we had a used furniture business at one time too. Aside from that, we had a cottage and all that. We go out, boat and all that.
Okay.
All his brothers and sisters would come down to the cottage, and we'd have just one hell of a time and all that. And,
you wanted to give a shout out to McGovern.
Yes, Joel McGovern. He was my dad's sidekick for many, many years at the Chaudière, and they actually worked together also at the Stanish as well, and I believe at the Papineau in Gatineau, if I'm correct too.
Okay.
They both, they're 2 peas in the pot. They're both large men. They had a great time, and the funniest thing is both of them passed away the same night, 2 hours apart.
That's crazy.
I still trying to piece all that together, but they had a great time working together. I'd say they were like brothers. They were inseparable at times. And I remember him coming over to the house quite a bit, and so he was a nice man too.
You've touched on it a couple times now. You're not really well versed in the lore per se, the battles, the individual battles that your dad may have had with some of these guys, whoever they may be, and I could throw 100 names at you. It doesn't matter. It seems to me too. I got to say, Gerry, by the way, 32 years. It's like every year is another guy comes up and says, "I had a friend who beat your dad." You know, just since he's passed away, there seems to be more and more of those. I mean, everybody at some point goes down. No, I don't think anybody retires on or off a plane, surface, field, ice, what have you, undefeated. Having said that, I mean, how long was he at the Chaud? Do you know how long he worked there?
I would say ballpark close to 35 years.
Close to 35 years. And was that for Maloney the whole time?
Yes.
He had that must have been an incredible relationship he had with that man.
Phenomenal. Like JP Maloney, who's the owner,
Right.
and he made certain that my dad was compensated for all the battles that he had to do and all that.
Oh yeah.
In a sense, like to keep my dad at the Chaudière.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just the Chaudière; it was also the Stanish.
Yes.
Because JP owned that, also the Cherry as well, and the Papineau and Gatineau as well.
Right.
And then whatever else, yeah. But my dad was strictly just the hotels and stuff like that.
There's lots of pictures. By the way, folks, Gerry here has brought in some phenomenal photos. There's pictures of your parents from their wedding day. Your mom is beautiful, by the way.
Thank you.
And pictures of so many pictures of your dad shot. Jesus, you just look and like the hair in the back of my neck's going up looking at him. I swear to God. Do you know any names? Do you remember any names of fellow employees that when you were there or before that were noted to be there to work alongside your dad, who were there to handle themselves? I mean, obviously at some point there was many instances where there was multiple guys that were there that wanted to take a round out of your dad. I know he fought many times, 3, 4, 5 guys at a time. That's well documented, well substantiated. But he had backup too. He had guys there. Do you remember any names?
Aside from Joe McGovern, of course there was a lot of waiters.
Yeah.
It was like a revolving door with these waiters. A lot of them.
Do you remember any fights when you were there?
Oh yeah.
There were, of course.
I had a few scars to show for it.
You got into them yourself. So you now. So your dad was in the middle of these.
My dad, well, he was trying to break it up. But I was always in the background, just making sure his back wasn't jumped.
Okay.
And it's the same thing with like I had 2 younger brothers also.
Yeah.
There too.
What were their names?
Bobby and Jimmy.
And so they were there as well.
Yeah.
It's a family of barbers. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that's probably the wrong spot.
Yes.
I'm just gonna make a hypothetical suggestion here, folks. That may not have been a real good health choice that night.
No.
So tell me about that. So there was a couple of battles going on. Your dad's in the middle of it, and you came out of you weren't employed on the door or the floor at that time. Or were you at that particular time?
Yes, I was.
Okay, so you were. So you were there. Boom, it's going down, and you were right over there, and then it explodes, and then you're in the middle throwing too.
Yeah.
What was the name of the old fellow there at the door that used to stamp the hand? Remember, was it Ben? Old Ben there, the old gray-haired lad there. As soon as you went in, remember when you up the steps, made the left-hand side there to go in the Rose Room, he was always sitting right in there. I think, remember? But you remember the guy, right, though?
Yeah, he had glasses and all that.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Did your dad always, it's even in these wedding pictures, your dad has glasses. Do you know him from as far back as you remember of having glasses, I guess?
Always had glasses.
Always had glasses?
Yeah.
I mean, there's comments. I have a good buddy of mine that I grew up with. It's just a little pepper pot of a guy, fire hydrant size, threw a right hand at your dad one time. All he managed to do was knock his glasses off. That's it. Then, of course, you know where he ended up after that. Yeah, he didn't even touch a step on the way out. He was airborne.
15 steps or 20 steps down.
Yeah.
There's quite a few patrons that didn't touch one single step going out. Yes, I know all about that.
Do you recall your dad going into the parking lot after guys?
Yep.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk to you as well a little bit about the assaults. Your dad was assaulted, not just physically challenged, but he had men come back. There's stories about knives and crowbars. Some of the insidious type of life that in our area were so upset by being thrown out. Are you familiar with those stories to a degree?
A few of them, yes. The one with the crowbar.
Yeah. What do you know of that, Gerry? Because there's been so much said about that.
Yeah, that happened in I believe the late 60s. Actually, a co-worker that I worked with, much older than I am, he happened to be there the night that it actually happened. There was bikers, and one biker got him with a crowbar from behind. Of course, my dad went down to his knees and then kind of wiped the blood off and got back up. And
got at it.
Yeah, and he finished it.
Yeah.
Then there's of course, the shooting back in 1980.
Yeah. Now, you were there that night.
I was in the crossfire of that. And I was 19 at the time.
Yep.
And I still remember it like yesterday.
Really?
But anyways, it was to do with the local biker group.
Yeah.
I won't mention any names.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
And anyways, it started from inside the bar where the guys were throwing glasses at the bartender, and next thing you know, they were escorted out, and the fight started.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, some individual handed a gun to another person, and next thing you know, it was a 22 anyways, and
Yeah.
next thing you know, fires off 4 shots. 3 of them, one lodged in his leg, the other one skinned his leg. The first one actually bounced off his large rings that he had on his marriage ring, and also the fourth one hit the car bumper. But in the meantime, he was running by me, like we're talking 15, 20 feet in front of me, and he was running towards me. And how I didn't get hit, I don't know how, but anyways, managed to dodge that. But yeah, so anyways, that was on a Saturday night, and he was back to work on the Wednesday night.
That's insane.
So the guy will not go down. Doesn't matter if you pop him with bullets or not.
He's a George Chevallo of Dormant. George Chevallo never went down. Your dad gets shot 3 times, and he's back at work 5 days later. Those guys were charged, right?
Charged, but they only got 6 months.
They got 6 months for deliberately shooting, attempted murder.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That's what the way the society was going at that time.
Yeah, yeah.
It's unfortunate.
Any other fallout from that?
No, I know he had there was a stabbing in October of '83. Unfortunately, I wasn't there because I was out of town and all that.
Yeah.
With business and all that, and it was of course just through phone calls. He managed to sort out that one as well. But he was known as the Cat.
9 lives.
9 lives.
Okay.
And, even 2 weeks prior to his passing,
Yeah.
we were joking with him. We counted all the incidents, and it counted up to 9. And we basically said, "You got to be careful." And sure enough, 2 weeks later, here he's coming because we used to own a marina and all that
Right.
out in Wendover, and he's heading out to Wendover. I'm heading into Ottawa. See each other on the highway, pull over, chat, and then decide, okay, we're going our way. And the next thing I know, it's the last time I ever saw him alive.
Was it that night? So was he dancing with your mom? Is that story true?
No, that's not
okay.
true. No.
So where was it? What
He
happened?
was at the Canadian Institute Français,
Okay.
which is on York Street and all that,
Yeah.
which is where the cabin is now.
Okay.
And anyways, he was with all his friends that he grew up as a kid. We're talking all his youngster age kids at that time. And having fun, having a few beers and stuff like that. When I had a dance with some lady, it was a waltz.
Okay.
When stood beside the bar, then he dropped dead.
Dropped dead.
And that's a heart attack.
Yeah.
And there was even a doctor on scene, and he couldn't do anything.
Nothing they could do.
Couldn't revive him.
Is the heart of a lion finally gave up?
Yeah.
Finally gave up.
But he was having a good time,
Yeah.
and it was natural causes.
Yeah, there you go. As opposed to everyone that tried unnaturally.
To end his life.
Yeah. But you said you didn't know a lot about it till you started working there, and you've discovered more about him after he passed, a little bit about his life. Do you know what? So what year would he have started there then? It must have been the 50s, early 50s, I
Yeah,
guess.
because the Chaudière itself opened up in the, I think it was 1929,
Okay.
when they had all the gala dances.
Yeah, my mom's sister has pictures of going to the shot in the 50s. It was a big ballroom. There were people all dressed up.
1,500 standing room in the storage room.
Crazy.
And then you had the green door downstairs, another 1,000.
Yeah.
And then the golf lounge was another 450.
And packed.
Packed. And there's been several occasions where all 3 bars, there was actually a 4th bar down in the basement of the motel as well. There's another 250. So it was almost 4,000 people. I've seen occasionally all 4 bars going and partying in the same one location.
There's nothing like that since.
Nothing.
Before or since in our entire area, region of Ottawa, Carleton.
Not even
Yeah,
close.
Not even close.
Like I've traveled even, like, I've been to other big cities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Even down in the States. And there's no other bars that come even close to like
What
the size of Chaudière.
What do you know? What do you know about the alleged altercation? No, they're not alleged. He fought the football guys too. Those stories are.
Angelo Mosca.
Did he fight him?
Yes.
He did.
Yeah. Angie apparently had too much to drink that night.
Yeah.
I'm going with a hearsay, but this is back, I guess, late 60s when he was playing for the Ottawa Rough Riders. And of course, all the guys would go over to the bar and all that and have a good time. But Angie got a little silly. And
Yeah.
Of course, my dad had to intervene, and that's where the pictures came in on the newspaper showing like a Santa Claus figure, which is my dad, with this football helmet rolling down the road kind of idea. And basically, with my dad swinging with his arm at this football helmet, and that happens to be Angelo Mosca. So, which was funny as heck. So, but,
There's so many. There's a lot of other
there's
names.
a lot of names out there. Unfortunately, I don't know them all.
Yeah.
I know I've been in a few when I started working there, but
Yeah.
But as I say, that's the way it was.
I have some friends of mine listening. Well, there's Mays and Kazis from from Milano Pizza. These are people who say they know you, they know some of your family going back years. I told you the name Dave Bullis. He was at school with you. He said you never lost a wrestling match. He said you lost a couple, but you were on the wrestling team, national.
Yes.
It's amazing. I mean, so your strength and athleticism, you came by it honestly, obviously.
Yes.
That was a passion of yours?
Yes, it was, yeah. I was into, it wasn't just wrestling, it was all sports. Like, even to this day, I still play hockey at a high level with my son and all that. And
how old's your son?
He's 23.
And how many kids do you have?
I have 2. I have a daughter as well.
Okay.
Which is Ashley as well.
And what's your son's name?
Chris.
And does he talk? Has he sat down and talked to you at all as he's growing up and said, "Tell me a little bit about Granddad"?
He's pretty well heard it all.
I guess he's heard it all. That's the thing. Like, look what happened here.
Yes.
Okay, on Facebook, you mentioned it when you came in here. Yours blew up. Mine blew up. My phone, you hear it's gone nonstop since you came in here. I've got literally, since you sat down here, upwards of 75 messages, Gerry, just since you've come in here. I mean, there's no way to even respond. He's a legend. I can't even quantify how much of a legend he was. And you know what, folks, I want to say this too. I'm not trying to glorify anything. I know one guy took exception to it, but he's a nice man. He's always made some nice comments. So, you know, I didn't snap or nothing on him. But it's not about that. It's about the iconic figure working for the length of time that he did, doing the nature of the job that he did in a very volatile time, in a tough, let's be honest, as soon as you cross the bridge, I don't care what era, as soon as you cross the bridge, you're coming from Ontario, you better have the chin strap buckled up. You know, let's be honest. You want to go over and have a nice, quiet, peaceful night, well, then you better be leaving at 10:30 and not arriving at 11. Because the odds are, there's a chance, right? And there's going to be a woman involved probably, and then fists are going to fly. And then your dad would have to step in.
Most of the time they'd be coming around 1:30 after the bars close.
Exactly. Ontario bars.
And then they come over for an extra couple of hours of more booze, and sure enough, the booze, courage, a little bit of courage with the extra booze that they get.
Did you witness at all the sound that you can say definitively with your own eyes, your dad going one-on-one with anybody?
Yes, I have, but I don't know his name, unfortunately. But I remember the fight was out in the parking lot.
Yeah?
And it was like basically myself, along with all the other waiters, created a big circle. So like almost like a boxing ring, if you want to call it that.
Okay.
And they went toe-to-toe. And it was a large man as well.
Yeah.
And ended up being a draw. Because they both
exhausted themselves?
To the point they couldn't fight anymore.
Really?
Yeah, and I went on for at least a good 15, 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
You saw it?
I saw it firsthand, yes.
Oh, yeah, Jesus. Wow, you have no idea who the guy was?
No, all I know, he was a large man too.
Any idea what year that was? 80?
It'd probably be around...
Late 70s?
Late 70s, early 80s, in that time frame. I just can't remember exactly.
Oh, man. You know what, buddy? At some point down the road, we got to do this again. Live her out, a time, I guess? Yeah, can't see it, but yeah. Come on, I can't.
We got to go, Liam.
Okay, that's it. That's all I have to do. Liz says, producer. Gerry, thank you so much, my friend. This has been one of the most enjoyable moments for me since I've done this show. And I know I've asked you repeatedly to come in, and you've always been reluctant, but you agreed today. The pictures you've brought are spectacular. Your dad was a legend and an icon of this area and this country. And I just want to say that publicly and thank you publicly for coming in today.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, Gerry Barber Jr., my